and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about my top 5 sci-fi books. I have to say, as a quick disclaimer, I haven't read that many sci-fi books yet. I only started getting into sci-fi more last year, and I do own on my physical TBR, it's mostly fantasy, so I haven't gotten around to reading that many sci-fi books. So this is pretty much a quite generic list, if you're honest. But I did want to share it, just because I think maybe some people could find it helpful with getting into sci-fi, because it took me quite some tries to get into sci-fi myself. I always thought I just didn't mesh with it, but actually turns out I love it. I just needed the right starting point to get into it, and yeah, so maybe these can help you if you haven't read those yet. And yeah, let's start with number 1. Also, these aren't in any particular order. These are just my top 5, and also there are 2 series in it. I always do them like top 5 books / series, because I don't want to waste top 5 spaces with like books from the same series. It just doesn't make sense for me. And yeah, I have my dog right here, so if you can hear any noises, sighing or just snoring maybe, yeah, it's him. He just wants to lay behind me. Book number 1 on my top 5 is Hail Mary by Andrew Weir. It was a hard decision to make between The Martian and Hail Mary, but I think Hail Mary has the more outlandish story, so I put this one on the list. But The Martian is great as well. Yeah, in Hail Mary there's an astronaut who wakes up, doesn't know where he is, who he is, what happened, and he slowly finds out that there's pretty much a problem with the sun, that it's getting dimmer and dimmer, and he was sent on a mission with 2 other astronauts to find out what happens, but when he wakes, those other 2 astronauts are dead, and yeah, he has to find out what happened, and he pretty much has to save humanity, and he may or may not find some help out there in the universe to solve his problem. And it's an incredibly great story. There are aliens in here, just so you know, because for me, I love books with aliens in them. I just love the creativity when imagining other life forms that have formed somewhere. So yeah, that was also quite a big reason for me for liking this one. And yeah, Andy Weir always does great science, great explanations. I love the science-heavy sci-fis. If they're good, if like the explanations are good in the book. And yeah, this one is also great because like the whole memory loss aspect of the book and him having to figure everything out again and stuff. Really, really great version. Then, book number 2 and a series is Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Love Tchaikovsky as an author. I love his short stories. They're quite expensive to buy as books, which sucks, but they're great. But yeah, Children of Time, humanity has pretty much destroyed their planet. They can't really live there anymore, so they sent some scientists to different planets to make them livable again with some experiments, and then they sent an ark after those scientists to get to the planets and manage to live there. In this one, the experiment goes haywire. On one of the planets, the apes that were supposed to get on the planet with a rocket and a virus to make them evolve die, the apes, and so the virus affects spiders that are on the planet, and the humans are on their way to the planet full of spiders that are evolving quite rapidly. And it's amazing. The perspective of the spiders is just great. The way he did the scientific advancements of the spiders and how they do everything is incredibly brilliantly thought through, and yeah, you will be pretty annoyed at the humans in the book, but it's all worth it for the spiders, I can tell you that. Book 2, just as great. I won't spoil you anything because can't really tell you anything about book 2 without spoiling stuff from book 1. But yeah, I'm waiting for book 3 to come out, and it's I think this, if I had to like pick one absolute favorite, it would be this one. There isn't a sci-fi book out there that I've read yet that could topple this one from the first, or my favorite sci-fi book. Also because this was one of the first I've read when I wanted to get more into sci-fi, and I think it's a really, really great start because there isn't much, I don't know, a lot of planet names or spaceship stuff that you have to keep track of. Like, you have the chapters about humans on the ship and the chapters about the spiders on the planet, and yeah, I think it's a great start for getting into sci-fi as well. The third book, or the third favorite book, is Jurassic Park. I watched the films first, loved them, and then found out that there were books the films were based on, and so I got them, loved the book, loved the characters in the book. The book is a lot more brutal than the films, I have to say. I mean, I'm gonna guess you know what it's about. There's a person who has a lot of money and who got an island and managed to produce some dinosaurs, and they are now on the island, and then he gets some paleontologists to get to the island to pretty much take a look at it, so he can prepare it for humans to have their vacation on the island or to visit the island. And yeah, everything goes wrong, as you can expect. I mean, it's dinosaurs. Pretty hard to keep them caged. And yeah, the book is a lot more brutal than the film. Like, there's a lot more happening, and it's in a lot of detail. And yeah, I love the slight variations to the films, and there's a lot of detail in the scientific stuff. I don't know if it's, I mean, it probably can't be true because we haven't managed to resurrect the dinosaurs, but like, we're on our way there. But like, yeah, it's a lot of pseudoscience, probably, I don't know. But there are a lot of explanations, so you have to be prepared for that. But as I said, I quite enjoy that, and so I did enjoy this one and the second part. I don't think there are any more parts of Jurassic Park. Book number 4 is also a series, and this one was quite unexpected for me. I read through it so fast, and these are the Illumine files. And yeah, the first one is just called Illumine, and then there's also Obsidio and Gemina. Like, Illumine, Gemina, Obsidio. Those are the 3. And the main characters are teens, which I'm not always a big fan of, but these books are so incredibly greatly written because they aren't a text, but they are files, like the name says, and like the series name says. And yeah, it's pretty much all 3 books are the files compiled by the Illumine group to shed some light on a space incident that destroyed a colony and damaged a lot of lives, or took a lot of lives, the incident, and a big corporation that wants to shut it all up. And yeah, the books are about teens pretty much saving the day, which I mean, it's totally unrealistic, let's be honest about that, but it just works in these. And you always have a girl and a boy that are the main characters, and they always have some form of relationship or had a relationship, which, to be honest, I wouldn't have needed, but it works in the case of the books. In the first one, for example, they are on different ships fleeing the colony that was destroyed, and so they can only communicate through messenger and stuff. So I think in that case the relationship thing works for me, and yeah, I think they're a great read just because of the format, because you have different types of chats you can as you're reading throughout the story, and graphs of the ship and stuff like that. So that makes the whole thing really, really interesting and a little bit more interactive while reading, and you get through so quickly through these. These are quite big books, like 500, 600 pages. Yes, 599 for the first one, but I've read it in a day and a half or so. So yeah, great series, great starter series, especially if you're a little bit younger, for example, because obviously these aren't as brutal as some of the more adult sci-fi books, because these are obviously for teens. But there's still a lot of death in these and a lot of consequences for everything, and yeah, and also I just think the whole theme of corrupt companies and just the consequences that come through actions that are done by companies are really, really good, like, talked about in these books, or like you can see it really, really good, and yeah, gives you a nice perspective, even if it's just a book and not reality. But yeah, I do think there's some reality in that book. And the last one I've mentioned in quite a few of my videos so far, but I have to talk about Hyperion. It's an incredible sci-fi book, and for me it's one of those that are, I don't know if it's a beginner book per se, but I think it's just an incredibly interesting book series. I've read part 1 and part 2, Hyperion and the Fall of Hyperion, and I'm currently reading book 3, Endymion, and they are all great. I love the storytelling, which with a lot of different perspectives that change throughout the book. So you don't really have a main character, like you have a starting character, but he doesn't necessarily stay the main character throughout the story. So you get a lot of different perspectives you can see the story from, and it spans quite a bit of time. Like for example, book 3 plays 247 years after book 1 and 2. And yeah, in Hyperion you pretty much have a world where humans gone and moved all throughout the universe with the help of an AI they made / found. Like they made it at the beginning, but it went out of control quite quickly, and the humans can't really control it anymore. But yeah, the AI managed to give them technology with which they could cover quite a bit of space in the universe, and so they managed to get onto quite a few planets, and are pretty much at war with the Outstars. And yeah, the book is about some pilgrims that go to Hyperion to find the Shrike and to hopefully make a change in the history of humankind and in the history of the war. And yeah, that's what it's about. I think it's a great story. You do have a lot of different settings and stuff, so I found it quite hard at points to differentiate where I am at the moment, because I can change places quite quickly. But yeah, the character arcs are great. You get to know the characters a lot through the book, because all of them reveal kind of like their reason for being on the pilgrimage and stuff. And yeah, so you can actually see the characters develop a little bit about throughout the story. And yeah, once I finished book 1, I had to buy book 2 immediately. After I finished book 2, I did order book 3 and book 4, so I could finish the series in, yeah, probably next month, I guess, because I will read book 3 this month and then probably book 4 next month, and I'm gonna be sad when it's over. So this will probably be a series that I will read again and again and again. But the other 4 are definitely better for beginners when reading sci-fi, in my opinion, and this one is a lot more, like, you have to be a lot more invested in it, and it can be quite daunting when starting with sci-fi, I would say. But yeah, these were my favorite sci-fi books. Please let me know your favorites down below so I can get a bit more recommendations, because I definitely need to stock up a lot more when it comes to sci-fi books, and I do want to get also to a lot more of the classics. So I'm currently also reading the Martian series with John Carter, but it takes me quite a bit to get through that one. So maybe you know a bit better classics like Hyperion that I can read. And yeah, I hope you liked the video, and until the next one, bye bye!